Yes, Jyoti, mute your mic. "46 students are there still, so less attendance." Okay, can all of you can see the slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let us wait for 1 or 2 minutes more. Let other students join. Then I'll start the class. Still out of 94, 57 students are there. 58. Okay, let us start the class now. So today we would be studying about what are the different conservation strategies of the medicinal and aromatic plants, and what are the strategies for their conservation, that is their in situ type and the ex situ type. Okay, so this is also an important topic from the examination point of view. आपको पहले वाला टॉपिक समझ में आ गया था जो प्रैक्टिकल उस दिन समझाया था, एक्सट्रैक्शन ऑफ लेमन ग्रास oil using the Clevenger apparatus. Have all of you got that notes that I have uploaded on the MS Team?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Only one student I am able to hear. Aman has said yes. Rest others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Jyoti. And amongst boys? बॉयज में से किसी ने पढ़ के देखा, वो कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है किसी को भी? Okay, so I'll move forward. So now, first of all, before going to the conservation strategies, we should know that conservation जो है basically है, what is that? Okay, so can I ask someone to read about the definition? Astha Sharma.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Astha. Can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just read this.
Conservation is defined as the management of human use of the biodiversity so that it may yield the greatest sustainable benefit to present generation while maintaining its potential to meet the needs and aspirations of future generation.
Yes.
Conservation includes
Yes, yes, continue.
Conservation includes preservation, sustainable use, restoration, and enhancement.
Yes. So conservation is basically कि आप किस तरीके से you just manage the biodiversity of the different plants, whether it can be medicinal or whatever the flora and fauna on the earth. जो general जो term you conservation में use करते हैं, so that the future generations also can get the sustainable benefit from it. Not only the present generation, but also to meet the needs of the future generations. So this is conservation. You can say it includes the preservation also. For that, what do you need? You have to preserve your flora or the fauna species. Okay, then you have to use it sustainably, you have to use it wisely, so that jitna aapko zarurat hai aapko utna hi use karna hai from the nature. Okay, you don't have to just over exploit it. Then you have to restore it, because since you are using it, you are depleting the natural resources, so you have to just restore it through the cultivation, through doing the cultivation in case of the plants. And you have to enhance it, you have to multiply also, so that the future, the needs of the future generations are also met. Okay, so this is actually very important. So this definition is the management. I'll just read it once again. The management of human use of the biodiversity, how to just manage these humans to maintain this biodiversity, so that it may give the sustainable benefit to the present generations as well as to the generations coming in the future. So this definition has been given by the three international reputed organizations, that is the IUCN. So I have also mentioned what is the full form of that. IUCN is the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. UNEP, that is UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, and WWF, that is World Wildlife Fund. So this definition was given in the year 1980. So the full form of these organizations can also be asked in your exams. So you should remember these. Okay. Okay, now we study that why we say that the species conservation is very important. Okay, so there are certain reasons that has been listed here. So I'd like Dolly is there. Dolly, kafi classes mein she is not coming. Does anybody know what has happened to her? Dolly is there today? No. Nobody knows about her? Yes?
Ma'am, I'm calling her.
Okay, you can call her. In the meantime, I'll ask Shalu Kumari. Shalu is there? No. Sejal? Sejal
Yes,
Srimi?
Shalu Kumari.
Okay,
I'm
Shalu.
Shalu Kumari.
Okay, Shalu.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can read this slide. Can you see this?
Why?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
just go ahead.
Why spaces conversation important? Spaces conversation is important because most of medicinal plant either do produce seed or seeds are too small and do not germinate in soil. Medicinal plants rise through seed and highly heterozygous and so great variation in growth, habits and yield and may have to be discarded because of poor qualities of product of their commercial release. Majority of plants are not amenable vegetative propagation through cutting and grafting, thus limiting multiplication of desired cultivars.
Okay, Shalu, you can mute now. So species, there are 3 points given. The major most important is why it is necessary, because most of the medicinal plant species, now here we would be focusing only on the medicinal and aromatic plants. So it has been found that most of the medicinal plants, either they do not produce the seeds, or if they are producing the seeds, then they are very small in size. And what the major problem is that because the size are too small, so they are not most of the time they are not able to germinate in the soil. Okay, so there are other methods of the vegetative propagation which are used for the multiplication of these medicinal and aromatic plants. Okay, so as you would be studying the different crops, you would be getting to know कि आपका कौन सा crop से किससे multiplication होता है. तो seed से भी होता है. Besides seeds, there are other methods of the like stem cuttings is there, slips are there, root cuttings are there. Okay, stolons are there. So there are many modes of the propagation in the medicinal plants. Now the second point is that कि जो मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स जो सीड से हो भी जाते हैं ग्रो, बट देयर टेंडेंसी इज दैट दे आर हाईली हेट्रोजाइगस इन नेचर एंड दे शो ग्रेट वेरिएशंस इन ग्रोथ. तो कोई भी उसमें जो बेनिफिशियल कैरेक्टर है, अगर एक पर्टिकुलर आपको स्पीशीज है जिसमें हाई अमाउंट ऑफ एक्टिव कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट है, ठीक है, तो अगर आप उसको सीड्स के थ्रू मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हो, सो देयर माइट बी अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट the next generation might not be of that desired quality as it was earlier. Okay, तो commercially हमें इसके लिए because these medicinal plants they are generally being cultivated to obtain their active constituents ताकि हम उससे herbal medicines we can prepare. So it is very necessary that very important that you have to preserve that genetic character of that particular plant. तो जो genetic diversity है उसको अगर हमें control करना है तो उसके लिए हमें we have to follow the vegetative method for the propagation. Okay, so this is also very important. So majority of the plants they are not amenable to vegetative propagation also. So there are some plants which are cannot be multiplied through the vegetative propagation like through cutting and grafting. So that also limits the multiplication of the desired cultivars. So because of these reasons, there are other reasons also. Another reason is, okay, Dolly is there now? Have you tried to contact with Dolly?
Ma'am, she is not receiving my call.
Okay, okay, leave then. Okay, Sejal is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Sejal, just read this slide.
Many plants propagated by vegetative means contain systematic bacteria, fungi, and virus, which may affect the quality and appearance of selected items. Thus, mass multiplication of disease-free planting material becomes a general problem. In order to overcome these barriers, conservation of species become importantly both by ex situ and in situ methods.
Okay, you can mute your mic, Sejal. So the other major reason is कि species conservation हमारे medicinal plants के लिए particularly why it is important is that कि जो plants vegetative means से भी propagate होते हैं, so there might be a possibility अगर आपने ठीक से if your propagation material is not disease free, अगर उसमें पहले से ही bacteria, fungal या virus का infection है, so that would ultimately affect the quality and the appearance of your plant. Okay, so it is very necessary कि you multiply whatever the method you are taking for the multiplication, either it can be through the seeds or through the vegetative methods. You have to see that it should be a disease-free planting material. Okay, because this is very important since you are the final use of these medicinal plants is because they are intended to be given as a drug for the humans. So it is very important that you just multiply the disease-free planting material. So in order to overcome all these barriers, we do the species conservation. Now there are basically two methods जो हम पढ़ेंगे, उनके भी अलग अलग types हैं, the ex situ method and the in situ methods. इसके अलावा what are the legislation? Now strategies इसमें you can see. तो two methods के अलावा जो legislation part है, legislation is actually the law making. What are the different laws which the government of India has made regarding the conservation of the medicinal plants? तो वो हम इसमें देखेंगे. Basically techniques इसमें दो ही हैं, strategies, that is the in situ conservation and the ex situ conservation. Okay, now I'll move to the next slide. So first of all हम देखेंगे what are the laws or the legislation, what does this says? Okay, now I'll ask Joesh Sahu is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Joesh, you can read it.
Conservation of medicinal plants strategies. Legislation. There are no separate policies or regulations for conserving medicinal plants growing in forests in India. Here, conservation is covered under existing laws pertaining to forestry. Following are the laws formulated by Government of India for conservation of forest is directly or indirectly protects the wild herbal flora. A. Forest Act 1927. B. Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and Wildlife Protection Amendment 19 Act 1991. Forest Conservation Act 1980, Environment Protection Act 1986, National Forest Policy 1988, National Biodiversity Act 2002, Scheduled Tribes and Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006.
Okay, so there is no need to remember the to go into the details of these acts. So what does you just need to know that there are actually the government in India, the government has not made any separate policies or rules and regulations for the conservation of these medicinal plants. So whatever the laws which are existing regarding to the forestry, ठीक है, वही laws जो हैं they are being directly or indirectly being used to protect this wildlife herbal flora. तो ये जो एक्ट्स के नाम है ये आपको पता होने चाहिए. That is, first is the Forest Act, which came into existence in the year 1927. Then Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Wildlife Protection, that it was again amended in the year 1991. Then Forest Conservation Act 1980, Environment Protection Act 1986, National Forest Policy 1988, National Biodiversity 2002, एंड शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स एंड ट्रेडिशनल फॉरेस्ट ड्वेलर्स एक्ट 2006. तो आप इसमें से 2-3 एक्ट्स के नाम यू कैन जस्ट रिमेंबर इट. ओके, then we come to the major strategy, that is the in situ conservation. अब in situ conservation क्या है ये हम देखेंगे और इसमें क्या क्या इसके अलग टाइप्स हैं. Okay, Joyesh has read it. Nikita Tiwari is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Nikita, you can read it.
Conservation of a given species in its natural habitat or in the area where it grows naturally is known as in situ.
Yes, continue.
Is known as in situ conservation. In situ conservation conserves the plant diversity on long-term basis, also known as on-the-site conservation. Example: biosphere reserves, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, sacred groves, etc.
Yes, you can mute your mic, Nikita. So in situ conservation, जैसे कि नाम से ही पता चल रहा है कि it is just conserving or preserving your species in that natural habitat where it is already existing in the nature. ठीक है, तो where the area where it is already naturally growing, so that mode of conservation comes under the in situ method. And the major advantage of this method is that it conserves the plant diversity on the long term basis. आपको कहीं भी कोई ट्रांसपोर्टेशन या कहीं भी प्लांट स्पीशीज को ले जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. जहां पे वो नेचुरली एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है, ग्रो कर रहा है, वहीं पर ही आपको उसको कंजर्व करना है. तो इसलिए इस मेथड को आप ऑन द साइट कंजर्वेशन भी बोलते हैं. ठीक है, अब इसके एग्जांपल्स हैं जैसे बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स हैं, वो भी हम देखेंगे कंट्री में कहाँ कहाँ बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स हैं, नेशनल पार्क्स हैं, वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज हैं, सेक्रेड ग्रूव्स हैं. तो ये सारे जो एग्जांपल्स हैं दे कम अंडर द इन सिटू कंजर्वेशन. Now, अब इसके एडवांटेजेस क्या हैं इन सीटू कंजर्वेशन के? ओके, जया कुमारी इज देयर? जया कुमारी?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, now I'm here. So
Jaya?
Yes, ma'am, Jaya.
Your voice is very low. आप अपने स्पीकर्स चेक करिए, कहीं आपके स्पीकर पे तो वॉल्यूम नहीं है लो.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I clearly audible now?
पहले से बेटर है.
Okay.
You can just open your webcam.
Webcam. Okay.
Yes. Yes, Jaya. Now you can continue.
Hello.
Yes, Jaya. Yes, yes.
Am I visible
Yes.
and audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so advantages of in situ conservation. It is a cost-effective way of protecting the existing plant diversity, wherein a wild species is protected and preserved in its natural habitat only. Right. And next one is in situ conservation prevents species from becoming endangered by human activities and reduce the need for human intervention to prevent premature extinctions. Next one is in situ conservation of medicinal plants in India can be accomplished through the active support and participation of people who dwell in or near and around the protective forest areas. Next one is involve the local mass or communities in all phases of conservation programs such as planning, policy decision process, implementation, etc.
Yes. Okay, you can mute your mic now. सो एडवांटेजेस आई थिंक इट्स क्लियर। तो पहला तो एडवांटेज यही है कि आपको कहीं भी प्लांट स्पीशीज को, जैसे मैंने बताया, कि कहीं भी ले जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट नहीं है, कोई मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट नहीं है। जहां पे वो नेचुरली एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं वहीं पर ही आपको यू हैव टू जस्ट प्रोटेक्ट इट। सो इट इज अ वेरी कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव मेथड of protecting the plant diversity. Okay, then the other is कि it only prevents the species from becoming endangered by, अब इसका जो मेजर मोड है, you have to just reduce the need for any human interference. कोई भी human interference आपको इस एरिया में अलाउड नहीं है, so that जो भी उनका extinction है वो ना हो. Okay, and other advantages that this method can be in situ conservation can be accomplished through the active support and the participation of the people, local people जो उधर के ही एरिया में they are living, who are dwelling in and around those protected forest areas. You can just use those people only, and with the help of them you can just conserve these species in their natural habitat. Okay, so they basically involve the local mass or the communities in all the phases of the conservation programs, such as planning, policy decision process and implementation. Now अब इसमें एग्जाम्पल है, जैसे हमने देखा था बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स, दे कम्स अंडर द इन सीटू कंजर्वेशन. अब बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स के कहाँ इंडिया में हैं बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स? So there are 7 biosphere reserves in India. You can see. So first is the Himalaya, and the biosphere on the Himalaya, the biosphere reserve is at Nanda Devi. इसमें इसका एरिया दिया हुआ है, and where it is present in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, इसी तरीके से then Burma monsoon forest, it's a biogeographic region, और इसमें जो reserve है that is at Nokrek. Okay, और ये है मेघालय में. Then Bengalian rain forest, it is located in the Assam. Then Bengalian rain forest, again it is the Sundarban at the biosphere reserve, and it is located at West Bengal. अब इसको मैंने highlight क्यों किया गया है? क्योंकि इसका एरिया सबसे ज्यादा है, तो मैक्सिमम जो largest biosphere reserve in India है, so that is at the Sundarbans located in the West Bengal. ठीक है, तो ये आपको एग्जाम के point of view से it can be asked. So then the other is the Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve, जो कि तमिलनाडु में है. Then Nilgiri में another is that is located in the state of Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And Great Nicobar, that is located in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, so these are the examples of your biosphere reserves. Now अब हमने अगर एक और term use किया था examples में in situ conservation के लिए, that was your sacred groves. Now sacred groves क्या होते हैं? That we would be studying. Okay, Jaya has read it. Amrutha is there. Amrutha Susupal. Amrutha, is she there? She is there. I can see her in the list. She is not responding. Rashmi Gautam is there. Rashmi Gautam? No. Anishka Anand?
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning. Okay, Anishka, can you see the slide?
No, ma'am, slides are not visible to me. Ma'am, I might download the PPT.
Yes, you can download it. I have already uploaded these slides in the last, I think yesterday. So you should have already downloaded them. Okay, in the meantime, Tarun Bhardwaj.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you see the slide?
The next is sacred groves. Sacred groves are small or large patches of vegetation protected on the basis of cultural and traditional practices on the religious background. They play a significant role in achieving efficient utilization of medicinal plants and resources. Some examples of sacred groves in India are Devbhoomi, in Uttarakhand, Oran in Rajasthan, Kevilkadu in Tamil Nadu, Deovan in Himachal Pradesh, Devarakadu in Karnataka.
Okay, Karan, you can mute your mic. So sacred groves are actually, these can be a very small patch of the land or a large patch depending upon the area available. With these traditional or the people who are living there, the cultural, they are protecting these patches of land on the basis there are certain their cultural, religious, traditional practices which are associated. So that also, these sacred groves also, they play a very important role in the conservation. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे भी it's a type of, again, in situ type where the plant species, they are conserved in their natural habitat. तो ये सारे कुछ examples हैं depending on the state in which they are located. So you can remember just 1 or 2 examples कि कौन कौन से sacred groves हैं, like देवभूमि है, ओरन है, देवी कदू है, दियोवन है, and देवरा कादू है. Okay, now we come कि इन सीटू कंजर्वेशन का मैनेजमेंट कैसे होता है, कौन देख रेख करता है इसकी, किसके, कौन सी पॉलिसीज कौन बनाता है, और कहाँ पे किसने डिसाइड किया है कि that they have divided the countries into कि यहाँ पे in situ conservation हो रहा है. So there is actually a separate department, that is a National Parks Department, comes under the government of India. So this is the department that prepares a policy on the conservation and utilization of medicinal plants in these protected areas. कि जो भी ये in situ sites हैं, बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स हैं, सेक्रेड ग्रूव्स हैं, नेशनल पार्क्स हैं, तो यहाँ पर कैसे कंजर्व करना है, आपको स्पीशीज को किस तरीके से प्रोटेक्ट करना है. सो द पॉलिसीज दे इंक्लूड, ओके, नाउ आई आस्क समवन एल्स. Tarun Bhardwaj has read. Nivedita Sahu is there. Yes, who's
ma'am.
there? Who said?
Can I read? Anushka.
Okay, Anushka, you can read. Nivedita, you read after her. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Management for in situ conservation. The National Parks Department prepare a policy on the conservation and utilization of medicinal plants in protected areas. The policy include identifying which of the protected areas are most important for medicinal plants. Second, targets and develops techniques for recording and monitoring medicinal plants in protected areas. Third, devise techniques and procedures for collection of medicinal plants within protected areas.
Okay, you can just read these also. Policies. These are
Fourth, the Parks Department determines the number of already existing protected areas that covers the medicinal plants of the country. It create new protected areas and extend existing ones to ensure that all the medicinal plants of the country are conserved. The Parks Department give economic and social incentives for maintaining natural habitats and wild species. Species that are heavily depleted by overcollection are reintroduced into areas where they once grew wild.
Okay, Anushka, you can mute now. So, what are the policies? I think they must be clear. It's written in very simple language. So first policy जो वो बनाते हैं, they look that they identify कि कौन से protected areas में what are most which are present that are suitable for the growth of the many medicinal plants. जो commercial importance के medicinal plants के, तो कौन से areas में हैं जो जहाँ पर वो predominantly they are being found. So they identify all these protected areas. Okay, then they developed these techniques for recording and monitoring कि कितने वहां पे medicinal plants हैं, कौन सी class के हैं, family, genus, all they collect every important information regarding these medicinal plants in those protected areas. तो ठीक है. Then third is they devise the techniques and procedures for the collection of medicinal plants within the protected areas. Then they devise the procedures कि किस तरीके से आप वहां से medicinal plants को collect करना है within these protected areas. Then another policy is that these park department they determines the number of already existing, कितने जो है already existing protected areas, कितने medicinal plants हैं जो वहां पर, और उनका number वो they just determine the rough estimate of the number कि कितने ऑलरेडी वहां पे एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया में. तो इस तरीके से जैसे सपोज उन्होंने थ्रू आउट इंडिया में 50 protected areas they identified. Then in each protected area they would count कि कौन सा medicinal plant कितने number में exist कर रहा है, ठीक है. Then it will create the new protected areas and it would also extend the existing ones जो already exist कर रहे हैं उनको extend करने का और develop करने का नए protected areas को, so that all the medicinal plants of the country they are conserved. Then the parks department, they also gives the economic, some type of economic or social incentive for maintaining the natural habitats. तो जो वहाँ के localites हैं, local communities हैं, tribal peoples हैं, उनको कुछ उस तरीके का incentive is they just give them social or economic incentive so that they can naturally they just maintain their habitat and the wild species. And they also look into those species that are heavily depleted, जो already बहुत ज़्यादा over harvesting से या over collection से they have been reaching into the extinct level. तो वहाँ से उसको रोकना है. They just identify those species and they just reintroduce those species into these areas जहाँ पे वो already कभी grow wide, they should they are growing widely, और जहाँ पे वो अब extent की कारगार पर पहुंच चुके हैं, they are, so they just again reintroduce those depleting species in these areas. Okay, so these are the very important points, policies which are taken care by this National Parks Department. Now we come to the ex situ conservation. तो ये तो हमने in situ के बारे में देखा. Now, okay, Nibedita, you can read now.
Yes, ma'am. Ex situ conservation. When the plant species are conserved on long-term basis outside their natural habitat by cultivating and maintaining plants in botanic gardens, parks, or other suitable sites is called ex situ conservation. Methods are: number 1, preservation of plant propagules in gene banks, seed bank, pollen bank, DNA libraries, etc. Number 2, plant tissue culture, repositories, cytopreservation.
Cryopreservation.
Sorry.
Okay, Nibedita, you can mute your mic. So ex situ conservation में जैसे it is being indicated from the name itself कि इसमें जो plant species हैं they are conserved outside their natural habitat. In situ का था जहाँ पे वो within their natural habitat पे conservation कर रहे थे. तो यहाँ पे जो है आपको species जहाँ जो आप देख रहे हो कि they have reached at the verge of extinction, so you just take them from their natural habitat and you just they are just maintained in some other suitable site. So these can be in the botanical gardens, in the parks, okay, or there are certain methods which are also given for the ex situ conservation. जैसे आपने gene banks के बारे में सुना होगा, तो यहाँ पे gene banks की भी अलग-अलग type हैं. They can be seed bank. Yes, Vivek. Okay. सो जीन बैंक्स में जैसे सीड बैंक है, पोलन बैंक है, डीएनए लाइब्रेरीज हैं जहाँ पे प्लांट्स के डिफरेंट पार्ट्स दे आर बीइंग प्रिजर्व्ड ऑन अ लॉन्ग टर्म बेसिस. तो सीड्स को अगर प्रिजर्व कर रहे हैं तो सीड बैंक है, पोलन को प्रिजर्व कर रहे हैं पोलन बैंक है, या फिर प्लांट का कोई भी डीएनए या जेनेटिक मटेरियल है देन देयर आर डीएनए लाइब्रेरीज आल्सो. प्लस इसके अलावा प्लांट टिश्यू कल्चर रिपोजिटरीज हैं. सो क्रायो प्रिजर्वेशन उसको टेक्निक को बोला जाता है जिसमें वेरी लो टेम्परेचर इज बीइंग यूज्ड टू प्रिजर्व दीज प्लांट प्रोपोग्यूल्स और दीज प्रोपोगेशन मटेरियल. ठीक है, तो ये भी हम देखेंगे क्रायो प्रिजर्वेशन की क्या क्या स्टेप्स हैं अभी कमिंग स्लाइड्स में. सो इन सीटू और एक्स सीटू के बीच में डिफरेंस आई थिंक इट मस्ट बी क्लियर टू यू. ओके, सो now we will see ki what are the guidelines which have been given for the ex situ conservation from this International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. तो ये एक बहुत ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विच गिव्स द गाइडलाइंस कि कैसे एक्स सिटू कंजर्वेशन, व्हाई इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट एंड व्हाट आर द रूल्स दैट हैव टू बी फॉलोड फॉर बाय ईच कंट्री इन ऑर्डर टू प्रिजर्व देयर प्लांट डाइवर्सिटी. ओके, सुमित चड्ढा. Sumit Chadha is there. Suman Kumari.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Suman. Can you see the slides?
Ma'am, guideline for ex situ conservation for
Yes.
each country should have at least one functional botanic garden. Botanic garden should set up seed banks for the native medicinal plants and those cultivated in the country. Botanic gardens should set up alternative means of ex situ conservation for those species which cannot stored in seed banks.
Okay. You can mute your mic. So अब ये guidelines क्या बोलती हैं? I'll just see कि other भी हैं क्या नहीं. अच्छा ठीक है. यही है basically 3 major guidelines. So this union, international union, says that each country throughout the world, जो भी कोई country है, they should have at least one functional botanical garden. ठीक है, उनकी requirement है कि minimum एक functional botanical garden तो होना ही चाहिए हर country में. Then they say that the botanical garden should set up the seed banks, okay, for the preservation of these native medicinal plants and those which are cultivated. तो जो कुछ तो medicinal जो native originally उसी country के को belong करती है उनको भी preserve करना है. Seed banks they have to be established, and those that have been brought outside from that country and they being cultivated on large scale in the country. तो दोनों के ही seed banks जो भी उनके propagule material है, चाहे वो seeds है या cuttings है या DNA है, जो भी है, they have to be preserved. Then botanic garden should set up alternative means of ex situ conservation for those species which cannot be stored in the seed banks. तो जो कुछ plant species ऐसे हैं कि जिनके seed banks में भी that they can't be stored, so they should they should look after for some any alternative method कि जिससे उनका भी preservation हो सके. तो basically जो broad objective है इन guidelines का वो यही है कि you have to preserve your species for their sustainable use so that they can be used for the future generations also. Okay, तो major यही objective है. Now we would be seeing कि what are the different examples of the ex situ conservation. Okay, so yes, Rishabh Pandey. Rishabh Pandey is there. See, those who are not speaking out, when I am taking their names, I am marking their absent. Okay, चाहे आपने login भी किया हुआ हो. So just keep in mind. Shambhavi is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shambhavi, can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am. Example of ex situ conservation.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Botanical gardens play a key role in ex situ conservation of plants, especially those facing imminent threat of extinction. Several gardens in the world are specialized in cultivation and study of medicinal plants, while some contain a special medicinal plant garden or harbor special collection of medicinal plants. India has network of about 140 botanical gardens. Example, Tropical Botanical Gardens and Research Institute (TBGRI), located in forest of Western Ghat Mountains in Kerala, has an excellent example.
Okay. So ex situ का first example जैसे कि botanical garden है. So it is a type of an ex situ conservation, and it has several gardens in the world. There are various gardens, but 140 botanical gardens have been documented by the government, and these are actually the functional gardens. और जो एक most इसमें important prominent है, that is in the South India, located at the Western Ghat of in Kerala. So the name of this is Tropical Botanical Garden and Research Institute. So TBGRI. So it is also important. This can be asked for any short answer question like TBGRI ki bhi full form. It can be asked. Okay, so you should remember the example of the botanical garden, and around 140 botanical gardens are there. Okay, Shambhavi, you just continue this also. Just read this.
The Field Gene Bank program launched by TBGRI from 1992 to 1999 is a very effective method of conservation of medicinal and aromatic plant genetic resources. This Field Gene Bank of medicinal and aromatic plants at TBGRI Trivandrum is essentially a blend of ex situ and in situ situations.
ओके सो जो है ये TBGRI ने एक फील्ड जीन बैंक प्रोग्राम लॉन्च किया था इन द ईयर 1992. So it was a 7-year program. It carried out till the year 1999, and it was a very effective. It was found to be a very effective method for the conservation of both the medicinal and the aromatic plant resources. तो एक फील्ड जीन बैंक जो है एक मेडिसिनल मैप्स का तिरुवनंतपुरम में भी है. ठीक है, तो इट इज एक्चुअली इट इज यूजिंग बोथ द कॉम्बिनेशंस ऑफ ex-situ कंजर्वेशन एंड द इन situ. तो ये नेचुरल जो स्पीशीज नेचुरल हैबिटेट में आराम से इट कैन बी प्रिजर्व्ड एंड कंजर्व्ड, सो दे आर यूजिंग बोथ द स्ट्रेटजीज. तो इन situ भी यूज कर रहे हैं, और जिनको बहुत ज्यादा थ्रेट है एक्सटिंक्शन का एंड दे कैन नॉट सर्वाइव द natural conditions, so they are also conserving those species through the ex-situ conservation methods. Okay, now the next example of ex-situ is the ethnomedicinal plant gardens. अब ethnomedicinal plant gardens क्या होते हैं वो देखेंगे हम. Saurav Gupta is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Saurav, you can read the slide.
Okay. Example of ex-situ conservation. Ethnomedicinal plant gardens. Ethnomedicinal plant gardens contain accessions of all the medicinal plants known to the various ethnic communities in different regions of India. The chain of gardens act as regional repositories of our cultural and ethno-medicinal history and embody the living traditions of our society's knowledge of medicinal plants. There are estimated to be around 50 such gardens in the country. One of the garden is located in TBGRI, Tropical Botanical Garden Research Institute, Pallod at Thiruvananthapuram.
Okay. So ethnomedicinal plant gardens एक तो ये है कि throughout the country there are 50 such gardens. अब इसमें जो है क्या खास बात है कि these type of gardens they contain all the accessions of all the medicinal plants known. अब accession क्या होता है? Accession की मैंने नीचे it's been given, it has been defined कि it is actually a group of related plant material फ्रॉम अ सिंगल स्पीशीज. तो एक ही प्लांट स्पीशीज की जितने भी उससे रिलेटेड प्लांट मटेरियल है दे आर कलेक्टेड एट वन टाइम फ्रॉम अ स्पेसिफिक लोकेशन. तो एक पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन से और एक ही टाइम में दे आर बीइंग कलेक्टेड. एक ही प्लांट स्पीशीज के जितने भी उससे मिलते जुलते प्लांट है ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज दे आर बीइंग कलेक्टेड एंड मेंटेन. तो इसका जो मेजर जो इसका एम है क्या है कि इट इज जनरली done to capture the diversity. तो उस पर्टिकुलर प्लांट स्पीशीज की जितनी भी मैक्सिमम अवेलेबल डाइवर्सिटी है, ठीक है, वो उसको हमें कंजर्व करना है. तो ये बेसिकली इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव है इथनोमेडिसिनल प्लांट गार्डन का. सो दिस इज द मेजर डिफरेंस जो इसको डिफरेंशिएट करता है इथनोमेडिसिनल प्लांट गार्डन को बोटैनिकल गार्डन से. ठीक है, here because they contain the accessions of all the medicinal plants known to the various ethnic communities in different regions of India. Now this chain of gardens they act as actually also regional repository. तो किसी को भी अगर एक particular region में से उस plant की वो variety या कोई भी variety चाहिए या cultivar चाहिए, so it acts as a repository. The person can go to that ethnomedicinal plant garden and they can ask for that particular variety or that accession. Okay, and just it also helps to keep revived our living traditions of our जो भी medicinal plants की throughout the age old जो चली आ रही है traditions, it also helps to conserve that also. So इसका भी example जो है ये भी TBGRI में ही है. So but it is located at Pallod at Thiruvananthapuram. तो यहीं पर ही इथनोमेडिसिनल प्लांट गार्डन भी है. ठीक है, तो बोटैनिकल गार्डन भी यहीं पर ही है TBGRI में भी, और इथनोमेडिसिनल प्लांट गार्डन भी इस यहीं पर ही इन लोगों ने बनाया हुआ है. Okay, now I'll move to the next slide. Now the third example of ex-situ is the gene bank. Okay, Shrujita is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shrujita, you can read it.
Okay, ma'am. Gene banks. In addition to in situ and ex situ conservation, long-term storage of seed in gene bank should also be undertaken. The seeds of wild medicinal plants are deposited with the first priority, especially red listed species and endemic species. The National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources NBPGR, New Delhi has already developed cold storage modules. Therefore, seeds can be sent to the Bureau for maintaining its diversity.
ओके सो सीड जीन बैंक्स का तो क्या है, इसमें तो सिंपल है, ठीक है। एक तो ये है कि जो जीन बैंक है इंडिया में, इट इज बीइंग लोकेटेड, जो प्रीमियर इंस्टीट्यूट है दैट इज एट सिचुएटेड एट न्यू दिल्ली। सो इट इज अ नेशनल ब्यूरो ऑफ प्लांट जेनेटिक रिसोर्सेज, NBPGR। इट इज अ वेरी रिनाउंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। तो यहाँ पे कोल्ड स्टोरेज की फैसिलिटीज हैं, जहाँ पे जो भी seeds हैं that has to be preserved on the long term basis, और जिनकी that have been listed as under the red list species। red listed species का मतलब आप समझते हैं? Yes,
which are endangered, like
yes,
they
yes,
exist but they are endangered.
yes, yes. So which are being and जो that is under threat of being endangered or becoming the extinct। और endemic species का that has been localized, that is localized to a particular area, जो एक particular area में ही present है वो species। तो particular जो priority होती है gene banks में preservation की, वो इन दो particular groups के लिए होती है। एक तो जो red listed species है और दूसरी जो endemic species है। Okay, तो these organizations generally have a very cold storage facilities where they can store the seeds for up to 20-25 years, to a very long time। अब हम देखेंगे नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में कि जीन बैंक्स में कैसे प्रोसेसिंग होती है सीड्स की, सो दैट दे आर कंजर्व फॉर सच अ लॉन्ग टाइम। ओके, सो आई विल आस्क समवन टू रीड दिस। Abhishek Bhushan is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Abhishek, you can read this.
Processing of seeds for conservation in gene banks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so gene bank receive exotic and indigenous germplasm of crops, orthodox seeds for long-term storage in gene bank. Before final storage, it passes through following channels. The first one is registration, second seed cleaning and purity analysis, third seed germination, fourth seed drying should be always done slowly to prevent seed cracking and damage. Fifth, moisture testing, it should be 6 to 7%. Six, seeds packed in tri-layered aluminum foil packs, usually kept in desiccator containing fused calcium chloride, and then finally seeds are stored in gene bank. All the information regarding germplasm stored is properly documented and computerized database is maintained.
Okay, you can just mute it. So ये जो है steps हैं क्या क्या before the seeds are being passed, stored in the gene bank for a long term storage, so they are passed through the various channels। तो सबसे पहले क्या है कि जो भी seed receive होती है यहाँ पे gene banks में, they are being noted, registration is done। registration में उसकी जो भी डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन है कि वो सीड कौन से प्लांट का है, क्या उसका फैमिली है, जीनस है, स्पीशीज है, कहाँ से वो कलेक्ट की गई है, तो ये सारी डिटेल्स, कितना वहाँ का लैटिट्यूड लॉन्गिट्यूड, क्या क्लाइमेट था, कौन से सीजन में कलेक्ट की गई है, ऑल दीज डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन दे आर बीइंग रिटन। ठीक है, तो registration, then comes the seed cleaning। तो then if the seed, only those seeds are collected for storage that are healthy and disease free, तो उसकी जो है they are ensured that they are cleaned well, and उनकी प्योरिटी एनालिसिस होती है कि उसमें कोई हेट्रोजाइगस नेचर तो नहीं है, कि अगर वो आगे उनको अगर हम मल्टीप्लिकेशन के लिए यूज करेंगे तो they don't show their variation in their particular characteristics। तो जो भी high superior varieties हैं, they are only the plants, seeds of those plants are being taken for the storage in the gene banks। ठीक है, तो उसका purity analysis करते हैं, then they are allowed to go for the germination test, seed germination test। तो अगर storage से पहले ये भी देखते हैं कि अगर if they are allowed to germinate, if they are allowed to give the favorable conditions for growth, तो वो germinate हो भी पा रही है नहीं, पता चले कि हमने seed को ऐसे ही store कर लिया और जब हमें उसकी जरूरत पड़ी और हमने उसको germinate करने का, we want that seed to germinate, तो वो germinate ही नहीं हुई है। तो it is very essential कि they should go pass through this seed germination test also। Then the next step is after you it is assured that ठीक है ये seed pure है, it is not heterozygous in nature, and it is also showing the viability, that is germinated, then it is proceeded to the next step of seed drying। अब now seed drying क्यों जरूरी है? Because in order to preserve anything you have to just reduce their moisture content। ठीक है, तो इसके लिए भी मॉइस्चर टेस्टिंग इसमें जो है इट इज ड्राइड, तो जो बेसिकली जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट प्रिकॉशन इट इज डन इज द ड्राइंग प्रोसेस इज डन वेरी स्लोली। अगर वो बहुत ज्यादा फास्ट होगा तो उससे क्या होगा, क्रैकिंग के भी चांसेस है सीड के, और वो डैमेज भी हो सकती है। तो दे आर बीइंग ड्राइड वेरी स्लोली टू प्रिवेंट ऑल दीज थिंग्स। एंड फाइनली जो उसकी मॉइस्चर टेस्टिंग है ड्राइंग के बाद, तो उसकी मॉइस्चर टेस्ट it is being done, तो it should be within the range of 6 to 7%. इससे ज्यादा अगर moisture होगा seed में, then they are again susceptible to any fungal contamination, any microbial contamination. So the moisture testing is done and its moisture should be ideally between this range. Then after that seed dry हो गया, ठीक है, उसका moisture test हो गया, उसके बाद they are then finally packed in the tri-layer 3-layer aluminum foil की होती है, and they are usually containing these packing materials. They contain a desiccator, generally fused calcium chloride is being used, and then finally seeds they are stored in the seed gene bank. ठीक है, और जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन है रिगार्डिंग जितनी भी ये प्रोसेसिंग की स्टेप्स हुई हैं, so all it is being documented, is properly maintained in the records. So I think these steps are clear for the processing. So this is also very important from the examination of point of view also. What are the steps in the processing of seeds for the conservation of gene banks? किसी को कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है इसमें? समझ में आ गया सबको? Yes, I am not able to hear anyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we come to the gene banks besides NBPGR और कहाँ पर है हमारे country में? तो DBT, that is the Department of Biotechnology, which comes under the Government of India. It has established 3 gene banks. तो एक तो है NBPGR में दिल्ली में, दूसरा है CMAP लखनऊ में, and third one is at Trivandrum, that is in South. Okay, TBGRI again. So this is also very important institute. Okay, so these are the names of 3 institutions. Now the other example of the ex situ conservation is your nursery network. Now nursery network, कौन read करेगा? Siddhant is there? Siddhant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Siddhant, you can read this slide.
Nursery networks.
Yeah.
The most urgent and primary task in order to ensure immediate availability of plants and planting materials to various user groups is to promote a nationwide network of medicinal plant nurseries, which will multiply all the regional specific plants that are used in the current practice of traditional medicines. These nurseries should become the primary source of supply of plants and seed material, and that can be subsequently multiplied by various users.
Okay, you can mute your mic. So nursery network का जो main objective है वो क्या है? Primary जो उसका क्या मेजर एम है एस्टैब्लिश करने का कि इमीडिएटली अगर किसी को अर्जेंट सप्लाई चाहिए प्लांट की या सीड मटेरियल की, सो दे आर एक्चुअली दे सर्व एज अ प्राइमरी सोर्स ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ दीज प्लांट्स ऑफ एनी मेडिसिनल प्लांट, और कोई भी उसका सीड मटेरियल चाहिए। तो अगर किसी को भी प्रोड्यूसर को या ग्रोअर या फार्मर को कोई इंटरेस्टेड है तो जीन बैंक तो जाएगा नहीं, पहले किसी तरह जीन बैंक से जाके ही इज कलेक्टिंग द सीड्स, so he can collect it from the nursery. So that's why the government has set up various nursery network. It has developed a type of a nursery network where anybody who is interested in the cultivation or in growing these plants, they can just collect this plant or any seed material and he can multiply. Okay, and so the major aim is to meet the most urgent and to ensure the immediate availability of the plants and to promote a nationwide network of these plant nurseries. So कोई भी regional specific plant जिसको भी चाहिए that are being used in the traditional medicinal system. So all these plants, they are being maintained in the nursery also. Okay, now I come to the, तो अब इसमें एग्जांपल्स हैं करंट स्टेटस ऑफ नर्सरीज जो हैं 40 हैं स्पीशीज ऑफ मेडिसिनल एंड एरोमेटिक प्लांट स्पीशीज, तो जो है दे आर अवेलेबल इन द ICAR एंड CSAR नेटवर्क. So ICR is Indian Council of Agriculture Research. So this is again a pioneer institution that I have already discussed you. जो भी research institutes हैं जो medicinal and aromatic plants में काम कर रहे हैं, तो इनके यहाँ around 40 species हैं medicinal and aromatic plants की, और plus CSIR की lab है, that is your CMAP, Central Institute of Medicinal and Aromatic Plants. So ये लखनऊ में है, ICR दिल्ली में है, ठीक है. और besides in South India also there is another institution, that is FRLHT, that is Foundation for Revitalization of Local Health Traditions. So it is located at Bangalore. So it has also set up a network of 55 supply nurseries. So South India में जो है 55 nurseries हैं that has been set up by this organization. And most of the throughout the country, the nurseries, they are looked after by these institutes, that is ICAR and your CSIR. Now the next is the community-based enterprises. I think 2, 4, 5 slides. Okay, I'll just cover it in my next class. Do you have the class after this?
Yes, ma'am.
अच्छा ठीक है, फिर मैं अभी I'll just stop it. I'll just cover these 2-3 slides in my next class. Okay. Yeah. You can leave the class. Leave the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.